If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Your fatal words I will choke.
Happy Thursday, happy Football Thursday to everyone in the sports universe. It is August the 4th, 2022. This is the AM Drive on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. For Aaron Crouch, our regular co-host, and welcome back, Sammy Action Man. I am Mario Carvello saying, what's going on, Shimmy?
Wow, it's good to be back, my man. I watched some of the shows overseas. I made your show an actual international superstar.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about. How was your trip overseas, sir?
Dude, it was amazing. We as Americans do not take enough travel as it is, but we certainly don't travel enough to foreign lands, and seeing other cultures and other people is just something every American should experience. They just do life so much different than we do, and it makes you happy to be American, but it also makes you want to strive for some of the things that other countries are doing a lot better than us. So it was a great trip and really, really enjoyable.
It's almost like we're sheltered, which I've always said.
Just a little bit in this case, yeah.
There you go. To support our international superstar of a show, go to amdrive.online or click the Our Shop tab at mikeandaarondrive.com. And as you guessed, it's our shop with our cheap but amazing merchandise. You get hoodies, mugs. Aaron's got a Black Edition mug, tumblers to keep your drink hot or cold. You got t-shirts, you got it all. MikeandAaronDrive.com or go to amdrive.online, the direct link, shop our merchandise, and feel good about supporting our faces. Not a guarantee on that one, but hey, we're back. Welcome back, Sammy.
Happy to be here, my friend.
Well, it's funny. I told Aaron, I believe on Monday, I said, I'm so glad this is over. I actually said it on the show, I'm just so happy I don't have to talk about this ever again. Okay. Let's rewind. Let's put the VHS back in. Okay. The NFL is going to appeal the 6-game suspension of Deshaun Watson.
Of course.
And Sammy, I believe you have insight on why. And first, preface your comments by telling us how you know this information, because I think it's key.
Well, I spent some time actually reading the 15-page verdict that Sue L. Robinson put out, and then I watched some shows on people who are more insider on these topics, not just the blanket statements put out by the media. And I found some pretty interesting things regarding what she said and how it worked out. So there are 25 cases overall, but the NFL only submitted 12 of them for Sue Robinson to look at. Of the 12, only 4 of them made it to her desk. So they had 4 cases, 4 women's cases that were brought up against Deshaun Watson. She viewed all 4 cases under 3 scopes. The 3 scopes were, did his conduct create personal damage, mental, physical, against another human? Was his actions against the integrity of the NFL? And did they violate the personal conduct policy? She found in all 4 cases that he was guilty of all 3 of those scopes. So now it comes down to verdict. How much suspension fine does he get? She lumped all 4 cases into one case and said, we're going to fine him $0 and give him a 6-game suspension for violation of these 4 cases. The reason the NFL is appealing is because the NFL wants 6 games per case. There are 4 cases. They want a total of 24 games. But they don't want to actually suspend him for 24 games. Their solution is, if they fine him $10 million, which that number isn't just made up, it's what he made last year when he didn't play, they then suspend him this year. They could essentially say they've suspended him for 2 full seasons without pay for his conduct, and that would suffice under their criteria of the personal conduct violation. Sue Robinson says, I think it should be 1 case and 6 games, and that's it. And so Sue Robinson did a good job. She did a really comprehensive verdict. It was written out very well and very interesting. It wasn't so much jibber jabber. It's only 15 pages, a lot of which you can skip. But I learned quite a bit from reading about it.
Sammy, I appreciate your research and, dare I say, your action on this matter. But I want to get, now we've got the black and white and the ones and twos and A's and B's out of it. My thought has been innocent until proven guilty. I know that that's a broad term that's used quite a lot. I know Aaron likes it, which it's fair. But then again, what's fair in this country, we don't really know. But people like to compare it to Josh Gordon doing cocaine excessively, and what I learned was doing cough syrup, which just blows my mind. They have to compare it to Calvin Ridley gambling, which even a part-time lacrosse broadcaster, Cody Jansen, cannot gamble on his game. Why would Calvin really be able to do the same? Why on earth should this not be with those things, first of all? Like, why should we not equivalate those? Because that's been a big debate, is those three cases.
It's a fair question, but the reason is because the NFL has its own book of laws, right? The country has their own book of laws. The NFL has their own book of laws. Gambling is an established law in the NFL with an established penalty. So if you violate this law, this penalty is what you're going to be given, right? There's no question about it. There's no appealing it. This is, if you do this action, you will get this penalty. Drugs are the same thing, right? If you violate their drug policy, this is the suspension. I think the first time is 1 game, the second time is 6 games, the third time is a season, whatever that is. It's already established and it's already been submitted as precedent. The personal conduct violation is a new thing. All right, they've been trying to mold this new law into a sentencing since Ray Rice, right? And then after Ray Rice, they had Jameis Winston, right? Jameis Winston touched an Uber driver. He got given 3 games. The NFL felt that was too light. So they've been trying to build a narrative and build a precedent on how personal conduct should be then doled out as sentencing. So these cases are unrelated to the other ones. The other ones already had established sentencing. And we in the United States do the same thing, right? You can get 10 years for murder in this country in some states. You can get 10 years for drug charges in other states, right? Each state has their own set of bylaws and sentencing. Then we don't have to agree with them, but the NFL gets to determine what they are. And that's what this case really is trying to figure out what is the proper punishment when you violate the personal conduct policy in a non-violent sexual way, which has only really happened one time in the Jameis Winston case.
I'm sure as a sports fan, as you are, as I am, it's interesting for me to learn these things because I like to stay away from certain stuff. Well, I like to stay away from certain political arguments in sports. But to me, I like hearing this from you because you break it down simply, and I appreciate that. Another thing I want to ask is, the NFL was this reactionary? Because I know what you're saying about the Ray Rice thing, and that they want to establish a precedent. But at what point? It seems like the wanting of appeal for them did not come until after people were like, "Oh, this is horrible! Only 6 games." It almost seems like they reacted again.
So I'm going to actually say no. I'm going to say this was not a reaction at all, and here's why. They put out, before Sue Robinson had her final verdict, they put out what they wanted. They said, we want an indefinite suspension for a year and a fine. They also offered Deshaun Watson a 12-game suspension and a hefty fine, or an indefinite suspension and a lesser fine. So they had their idea of what the precedent should be based on what their bylaws say, right? We don't have to agree with them, but that's what they believe.
Right.
They did not achieve anywhere close to what they think is the fair determination in this case, and they want to set a precedent much harsher than this. So they had already, I guess, pre-established they were going to appeal if it wasn't close, and it's not close. It's not close to what they want.
It's like half, and it's less than half, really.
So the big thing for them is the fine, right? They actually, the games are the games, but they actually really were upset, I think, that there was no fine, because essentially you're not taking into account any monetary distress from this situation. And if a fine was levied, I think they would have been less likely to appeal. And that's what they're going to get when Roger Goodell eventually lays the hammer down.
One last thing I want to ask about this is, have you heard about an ETA on this whole thing because again, as I said Monday, I'm tired of talking about it. Are you? Although you have brought some great points, are you? Have you seen the like reports or anything? Because I haven't seen a timetable from this yet.
So the part of the CBA, and really the CBA is to blame here because they're the ones who agreed to allow Roger Goodell to appeal and then make his own decision, which
Right.
they should have probably never agreed to that. But according to the CBA, I think it has to be expedited pretty quickly. They don't have a specific time frame. But I will say it becomes interesting if Deshaun Watson and the Players Association sues the NFL in court, in actual federal court, over this whole thing, if he would actually be allowed to play in game one, right? Because they wouldn't be able to actually suspend him until that federal case is
Mm.
taken out. And so by appealing, it's possible, and I'm not sure about this. This is just me guessing. If they end up suing the NFL over this in federal court, the NFL would have to wait until that case is done, settled, and tried before they could actually levy a suspension. We might actually see Deshaun Watson week one of this season, which would be hilarious in my opinion.
I don't know if it'd be hilarious. I think you talk about protesters outside of a stadium. That one they might burn down the stadium, knowing how people are on this. Holy cow! Wow, that's a bombshell to me.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to actual football games, Sammy. Since you mentioned that, it's the Jaguars, it's the Raiders tonight, and we each have two things we're looking for. So, give your first thing or player you're looking for, albeit preseason game.
Well, a lot of the big names aren't going to play, right? You know, no Trevor Lawrence, no
Oh.
NTN, no Devontae Adams. But we're not going to get to see the Raiders unleash their new offense on us. So, for me, it comes down to, I mean, the easiest player to worry about, wonder, and want to see is Trayvon Walker, right? The number 1 overall draft pick by the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Is he going to play, right? Because he hasn't had a great college season last year. I think he only had 6 sacks, and he was, a controversial pick at number 1.
He's just a physical freak like the hockey player was.
Right. And so we want to go out and see this physical freak. So is he going to take the field and will he get some plays and will he cause some mayhem against what will essentially be backups, right? So, I mean, if he can't cause some mayhem in these games against backups, how is he going to do, being guarded by, being blocked by the best offensive lineman in the league? So that's the first thing I'm going to look for is do we get some Trayvon Walker time?
That's a great point. My first thing I'm looking for is I know we're not going to get, the big names. I know we're not going to get the big play calls. But how much different do these teams look automatically? Like, is there fight in them? Because both teams have new coaches. And Josh McDaniels, last time we saw him, was not the greatest head coach in the world. I'm interested to see how these coaches have what they've done so far. I want to see who comes away looking more prepared for this game. Because to me, it does matter. It shows you what you can bet on later on in the season. It shows you which coach will be more prepared for the bigger game. I'm excited for it.
For sure. And, your point about Josh McDaniels, the coach of the Jaguars didn't exactly leave in a very ceremonious way from the Eagles either. And so both these coaches do have something to prove, and this is a great way to start. But, I mean, it's preseason. It's hard to tell if these players have the talent to really, dole out the playbook the way they want. But the other thing I'm looking for, and I'll tell you that preseason games usually bring no information, but this one I think actually will bring a little bit, is – the third wide receiver spot. I'm a fantasy sports player. I like to know who's going to be, in the slot, right? Who's the third receiver? The Raiders' job is kind of up for grabs. So they have Devontae Adams, they have Hunter Renfrow, they have Darren Waller. Those guys are going to be their top targets, but they have a third wide receiver spot. They brought in Keenan Cole, who I believe was with the Jets last year, and he was supposed to take that spot, but they've actually been saying the other 2 guys in camp have been playing better. Ty Johnson and Matt Collins. And so those guys will play tonight, and we'll see
if
those
Johnson's
guys
from the Buccaneers, right?
Sorry?
Is Ty Johnson from the Buccaneers?
I think so. I'm not really 100% sure. But I know that they've caused some waves in camp as trying to take over that 3 spot from Keenan Cole. And so I don't know that Cole will play, but I think the other 2 guys will play, and we'll get a good look at how explosive they can be. So that's something at least to watch, and you'll see these guys on the field at some point during the regular season.
That's a good point. Another thing I want to add.
Did I lose you?
I'm interested. What? You lost me? No, Sammy, no. We'll ask Sammy to join again. Whoops. It's not good. Got some technical difficulties, folks. My second thing I was going to get at was the broadcast teams, because I know the NFL's got a lot of shakeups this year. This one might be on NBC, but I'm looking at the broadcast team for this. Welcome back, Sammy.
I don't know how much of that you got, but I was talking to myself, I'm sure.
No. I got a majority of it until you said, "Oh well, did I lose you?" So you did good. But my second thing was broadcast. I just want to see if there's any changes to the NFL broadcast. I think this was on NBC, right?
Yeah, yes, I think it is NBC.
So who are we getting in this game?
I don't know. I haven't
I wonder
looked
because didn't Al Michaels retire or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I can look it up real quick. Let me see if I
I
can
mean, you
find
don't
it.
have to. I just thought that was an interesting point, because the NFL is changing a lot of it this year.
This game is on NBC. Yeah, it doesn't say. It doesn't
Might be
actually
Mike.
have the. It doesn't say who the broadcast team is.
Where's Mike Tirico? That'd be
Yeah, I don't
cool.
know. I don't know who it will be.
Oh, well, hey, when we come back, we're talking Cristiano Ronaldo, big soccer show, big football show. We're also talking Kevin Durant's. Sammy's back, and so are we on the other side. The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Yes, sir. I love the beat that Aaron put on that. Hey, welcome back to the AM Drive. If you want the best in sports merchandise, we've got Nike, all kind of good stuff on there. Autographed memorabilia with daily deals. You've got to go to MikeandAaronDrive.com and do what, Mr. Sammy?
Click this F right here.
That's right.
Click
You can
there.
still, good job. You see, when Aaron comes back, he misses his directions. You did good on that. Good job. When you click the F, the entire Fanatics experience is at your disposal. So go on there, get your autographed memorabilia, get the jersey, get the t-shirt, get the cap, get the championship merch. And hey, if you were trying to save money, today's daily deal, 70% off clearance once again. That means that shirt you wanted, that jersey, may be on sale, and it might be a little bit cheaper this time. So check out MikeandAaronDrive.com, see what they got for 70% off. You might be surprised.
I'm gonna go check it out. I want some new jerseys for football season.
Me too. Although the Aaron Donald one works. Cristiano Ronaldo has, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, he walked out before the final whistle. It's the end old tale of like when LeBron James left the court early. A couple of times with the Lakers or the Cavs or whatever. It's like, oh, that's horrible. Like the good old boy says, that's terrible. And then his coach, Ronaldo's coach, did not like this either. Now Ronaldo is 37. He's looking for a new team besides Manchester United. The coach said it was unacceptable. He also said it's unacceptable for everyone. I'm telling them it's unacceptable. We're a team, a squad. Until the end, we stay together. Sammy, is this the big nothing burger, or is it something that that people should care about if they're soccer fans?
I mean, if you're a fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, you don't care even a little bit. But
Right.
for me, it's a big nothing burger. A lot of times these coaches should be handling a lot of these things in-house, in my opinion. I think calling out your player in this capacity does nobody any good. If you want to close doors and throw toasters at get all upset, so be it. Going to the media and trying to embarrass your player. And he wasn't the only one who left. From what I understand, 2 or 3 of them left. It just seems like a big nothing burger. It seems like a little bit of attention seeking to me. It's not a big deal.
I like that point because I didn't think about it like that. I was only focused on the Ronaldo part of it. And that's a good point because really, if someone in the media asks you, what was that about? You just say, we'll handle that in-house. That's all you got to say.
Of course.
Like, it's politics. Like, put the politics game with these media members. Then this nothing burger is nothing at all. It's not even a burger at that point. So, hey, whatever. Cool.
I mean, you never hear Bill Belichick, right? You never hear him calling out players, right? If he's gonna get upset with somebody, it's all handled internally, and he doesn't want any of that leaked out to the media, and that's why they're a great franchise.
Good point. What was your? Do you think athletes? If you're an athlete, do you walk out? Because I feel like it's kind of a petty / bitch move. It's like what do you like? What is he trying to accomplish at that point?
I mean,
it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I don't know what. I can't put myself in the head of Cristiano Ronaldo or any of these players, but
You sure? Okay.
but I would say that if you're passionate about what you do and you don't do it well, some people handle that passion fiery. And if you had a bad game or you're upset about calls or whatever the reason, and you decide to walk out so that you don't take it out on your coach or your teammates, I don't know that that's a big deal. If you're walking out because you are done with this team and you're just showing up to cash your check, and then you walk out because you just don't care, well then yeah, I think that's not so great. So I think the motivations do have some semblance of importance here, but it's impossible to know which motivation Cristiano Ronaldo has, and so I just assume just give the guy the benefit of the doubt. If you're not happy with his conduct, then tell him that personally. But yeah, it's no need to keep the media involved in such stuff. This is a wasted story.
It's almost like Ronaldo wanted to make an in-house message, and his coach Ten Hag, who sounds like an evil witch name, did not want to make it in.
When I read the article last night, I had to look up what his coach was. I'm like, what is Ten Hag?
I think that's his dual last name. But man, that's a funny last name.
It's a really interesting last name for sure.
He's a Dutch coach. Ooh,
yeah,
love it. Here's an interesting thought because again, another thing that I thought was last time I checked, the Celtics were trying to trade for Kevin Durant. Now it turns out they've shot a bullet in their franchise, released their corner pieces in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Because now that deal might not even work. So you've got it out to the media that Jaylen Brown, your guy who just probably was your best player in the finals, well now it's like, oh, you got to keep him now. Whoops. As for the Nets side of it, I'll give Skip Bayless credit on this one, man. He has said for a few months that Kevin Durant was going to stay with the Nets for one more season. And now we're getting word that Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, and Kevin Durant are going to meet together. This is pretty incredible to me because it's not like a GM. It's not a coach. It's not the players. It's the owner. So I'm expecting a major overhaul. Does that mean, hey, Joe, kick Kyrie out of here? I don't care what you get for him. I don't know, man. What do you expect from this?
I don't know. Sometimes these owners meetings, when owners get involved directly, it's to expedite a process, but I don't know which way it's going to be expedited, right? I mean, Durant could come in and basically be like, I'm done with your team, get me out of here. Or Joe Tsai can come in and be like, hey, we're going to win around you. What do you need to win? I'll get you whatever you want. It could go either way. I generally speaking, I'm so detached from NBA right now. Off-season stuff, football season is beginning. Yeah, so I haven't spent really any time with this. But if I were Joe Tsai I would build around Kevin Durant. If I was Kevin Durant, I would tell Joe Tsai what I need to get me the pieces that I think I can win with. And I would, at a later age, I would say Durant needs to win one on his own. This is a great opportunity to do so. But again, motivations of these players are hard to figure out, and so I can see it going either way.
So in other words, let me see if you're right. If I hear you correctly, do you really think? I know that Kevin Durant is a great player. After what I saw with Brooklyn and Boston, I'm not sure if Kevin Durant is who I thought he was. Like,
so?
He's never really led a team to anything. I know that's kind of like the joke on him is, he blew a 3-1 lead with Russ and then go on and out. Golden State carried him. I'm not sure, and people could argue if Kevin Durant was the guy in Golden State or not. Just because you scored the most points doesn't mean you're the guy per se. I wonder if Kevin Durant is a guy you can build around because I have never seen it.
Well, I mean, didn't he win 2 Finals MVPs with the Warriors?
He did, but it just blows my mind because like Kawhi Leonard was on the Spurs, right? Well, are you going to sit there and tell me that Tim Duncan and Tony Parker were taking a backseat to Kawhi just because Kawhi scored a bunch of points?
No, but Kawhi won an MVP as well with those guys on the team, and because he was the best player on that team that year, or at least during the finals. I think Durant proved himself on the biggest stages. He's come up huge in multiple games. He's also fallen short in big games, but not because he's necessarily played bad. I don't know. I think I'd rather give him the benefit of the doubt of saying he's still a great player, having won those championships with the Warriors. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't done it by himself, but very few people do. That's not an easy thing to do.
I managed on the show a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that I'll say, hey, it's hard being LeBron James. Maybe Kevin Durant's finding that out.
Actually, the guy who I think won a championship most by himself is probably the guy you mentioned earlier, which is Kawhi Leonard on Toronto. While that team was full of scrappy players, he was their only star, and then they won a championship with him. So, I'm not a big Kawhi Leonard fan, but to his credit, he did.
Claw.
Yeah, but to his credit, look, he did will a team to victory without really any other superstar. So it's hard to do. Especially in today's NBA where everybody's playing together. I would have said Giannis, but my buddy Tom always tells me how great Chris Middleton is, so he no longer gets the credit of leading a team by himself.
Chris Middleton. Yeah, that's so funny. To be fair, I think like they came into the league together, if I'm not mistaken. Giannis and Middleton did. So
I think 1 year apart, maybe. But yeah, Giannis is a freak. I mean, he's amazing, but
he's the Greek freak.
I don't think he's that great, Chris Middleton. But my buddy Tom, who's a huge Bucks fan, tells me this guy's an excellent player, their best player down the stretch and clutch. And so if that's the case, then I can't give that credit to Giannis. So
I love how you call him Giannis. That's just a great Americanized version of that
Giannis.
name. It's Giannis.
Is it not Giannis? I don't know.
Giannis is like something like the hillbillies down south say. Giannis, come on, man.
All right.
You're killing me, Sammy.
It's football season. Leave me alone.
I know. Bye, Aaron Donald. Hey, any parting shots?
I'm going to be betting the game tonight. Actually, I think I'm going to bet over. The total is 30 points.
Wow.
I tend to find out that in these types of games, you get some pretty sloppy play. I don't think the offenses will necessarily light it up, but you can get some pick sixes and some fumbles and teams in plus territory all night long. I think 30 points is a little bit low, but this is just for action. I have no actual semblance of a reason to bet this other than that.
That's incredible. 30, that's an incredible score. Maybe I can ask Tony Johnson, who's coming up on the other side, about that total. That'd be fun. Thank you, Sammy. We'll see you tomorrow, pal.
I'll be back tomorrow, my friend. Thank you.
All right, guys. When we come back, we'll talk to Tony Johnson. The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Shop your favorite golf balls and golf merchandise at MikeandAaronDrive.com and clicking the Vice Golf logo. And you know what? I'd say golf is a pretty hot topic, Tony Johnson. What do you say?
It stays hot, Mike. We've been hot for what, 6 months now, and it won't stop. Again, not the right reasons for sure, but I again, for someone that's been my main sport now for most of my life, there's nothing like I've never seen anything like this, and I don't think we will probably again, depending upon how long all this stuff goes. It would be nice. It would be nice. You know, I'm not saying this should be the 13th, background sport, whatever. No, I think golf deserves to be a little bit, more prominent, but certainly not prominent like this. This is different than anything else. You're right.
My guy Jay Hugh or Huh is a 6 under right now, the Wyndham Championship through 13. Sung J M, your guy.
Yes, Sanjay. He's been really good out here. So he's played at this tournament at the Wyndham, I believe, every year of his career that he's had the PGA Tour card. And Sanjay is moved to the South. Actually, he had been living out of his suitcase essentially for the first year and a half or so. Decided to move. He's got a couple of places, one in Texas and another one actually right around here in the Carolinas. Very comfortable in this type of environment and this type of course. I know he's talked about how much he likes this course. He grew up in a very similar, not grainy in the sense of how the grass grows where they're at the Wyndham, but similar in style in Korea where he played golf growing up. So I think he really likes it here. And yeah, we do have him. We have him across the board here in a lot of bets and things this week. So yeah, hopefully Sanjay can keep it going. Nice to see. And it's one of my favorite courses. I absolutely love just this tournament in general. It's great right before the playoffs, and we get everybody back together. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's like the PGA side of things. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Tony,
true.
Speaking of Tony, how about Tony Finau was really had another. I mean, so through 3 rounds, Tony Finau at the was it Rocket Mortgage you were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Through 3 rounds, he was right on the lead, and round 4, man, holy cow! Just what a monster performance by Tony Finau, who, as you guys said, you wait for him to break through and might have done it.
Yeah, we talked about it right on the show, didn't we? About how sometimes they can all start bunching together, and it's one of those things that you don't fade guys that are playing this well, that have started to put it together. He's making all these putts, and absolutely, Mike, you said that, and I think it was interesting to see at his post-round interview, and then he's done some interviews afterwards, and talked about how, yes, he was extremely satisfied. He played really well in Minnesota the week before at the 3M, but he was kind of handed that tournament. He didn't say those words. Certainly, he's a respectful, guy. He didn't want to, say anything bad about Piercy, but he really said he was extremely proud and very, very, very happy about the Detroit, because he really went and took that one. He played 4 very strong rounds, especially in the final round, as you noted too, Mike, where he just thrashed the field and kept his foot down. And it was incredibly impressive. And he said he was extremely proud of that one, almost seemingly more excited and more emotional than the week before, which is really interesting. To say that, yeah, you get the one win and the monkey's off your back and you can relax. People say that sometimes. That could not be further from the truth. If you watched Finau last week in Detroit, he was as jacked and as excited as ever. What a wonderful thing to see again. These last 2 weeks. We've talked about these stories, Mike. We harp on them over and over again about how great this stuff is on the PGA Tour, and Tony's as good as it gets, and just a wonderful guy that I think the tour is very, very proud of, and they've been behind, for a long, long time, because he represents, a lot of, America that doesn't necessarily get a chance, to play golf year round, growing up in Utah, and
Right.
it's nice to see. So. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It was a great tournament. It was really, really fun to watch, and what a final round, as you said.
We're a big Tony show here.
We are, absolutely. It's nice to see.
Okay, so before I get to the LIV, that's just getting bloody right now. That's a bad joke, but it's not good right now. And I actually, prior to all this, what we're about to talk about happening, like a day before, we had a guy on our show named Digsies from the 54 Live podcast, and it was a voice of reason. Really was like he wants it to work together. He was just an optimistic guy, and this crap happened.
Yeah.
Tony,
yeah,
people.
I've been pessimistic since day one, and I don't want to be right. Trust me, as I've said, I hope to be wrong. I want there to be some sort of medium, but it's impossible. It's not possible. We sort of knew that this was going to go down the road through the court system. However long it takes, again, the suspension of Mickelson and some of these other things that have come out, we didn't necessarily know all of those details, but none of this is surprising. And the fact that we now hear that Phil is trying to recruit people openly, it appears. It's the type of thing that if you don't have necessarily concrete proof or knowledge that this happened, which I'm sure the tour has, why go down that road again? If you're Mickelson, yeah, you invite people to your house, you do stuff behind closed doors. Of course, this is going to become his tour, the LIV Tour. He certainly knew that a while back, and yeah, I get that. You want to bring some people over. That I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that. But to openly do it in spots where now some of the details that I'm getting, and we've seen some tour pros now talk on Twitter, not necessarily about specifics, but about how this was growing and the sentiment had started all the way since last season. Being talked about in the locker rooms of PGA events, it's pretty mind-boggling, Mike. And I think it also shows I don't know if you want to call it a level of arrogance or greed or just the ability, the thought that Phil thinks he's sort of above, most things or everything. And again, I'm not saying I'm not the biggest Phil hater in the world. I've always, liked him as a golfer, and I thought he stood for a lot of good things for the most part throughout the last couple of decades. But stuff like this is when you undermine the tour and the place that got you started, that has made you millions and millions of dollars. You've won majors, and to undermine them like this. And again, I guess it'll all come out as the court proceedings, happen because there's millions of dollars and tour cards at stake. But it's sad to see, as you said, Mike, when we led with this thing, is that it's just the fans lose. That's who loses with all of this. Is
Amen.
Us, and that's
because we're not talking about golf. We're talking about everything but golf.
Everything but golf, and the people that love it, and people like you and I that we tune in every week, or even the casual fan that's tuning in just for the bigger events, or they'll get there for the FedEx Cup, and maybe they won't now because they keep seeing all this garbage news, and it's like, I'm just going to watch preseason football or hang out with the family or whatever. I'm not really going to tune in this week for the Tour Championship and things like that. There's going to be a lot of people like that, no doubt. This is negative stuff, and again, I think also that's not being talked about right now is this can't be positive for LIV either. Like LIV is trying to grow their tour, right? They're trying to get
that's
viewership.
What we're hearing.
Right. That's in theory, right? If you want to stay around and actually maybe not lose millions and millions of dollars a year, again, whether they care or not about that, we've talked about that too. Who knows? But you can't grow a tour. You can't grow a new tour and try to get YouTube viewers, with this type of, I know, just to say it is laughable, but They want to get TV contracts from the US and from Europe and Asia. And this stuff is not going to fly. There's a reason no one has given them a contract yet. Why has that not happened? I believe it's the sentiment in the news like this. The TV deals, these are not done by dummies. And I think a lot of these executives have seen through what's going on, and they're looking at and understanding that golf viewership, there's not a lot of space for two tours. There's not a lot of space for, as we said, Mike, it's tough to compete for eyeballs nowadays. There's a lot to do.
Right.
I just don't see how this is successful long term, especially when you keep getting all this negative sentiment, as you said.
And I like that you mentioned it's not good for LIV, because I always see PGA is gaining viewers just because it's the PGA. But now it's like almost they're getting viewers because they're like, people will want to see LIV fail now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some of that. Yeah, could be.
But I do want to read some of this. This is just a nasty letter.
Yes.
The commissioners. This is not good. The Jay Monahan, who is not a very popular figure in PGA from what I've heard from fans. He says he was talking about the suspension and sent to all the players, and he called it the Saudi Golf League. He said, let me be clear. Oh, he said it's an attempt to use the tour platform to promote themselves and to free ride on your benefits and efforts. What I don't like what he said is the last two sentences, which really rubbed me the wrong way for this guy. This is your tour built on the foundation that we work together for the good and growth of the organization, and then you reap the rewards. It seems your former colleagues have forgotten one important aspect. He's basically saying it's all him and not the players. That's what rubbed me the wrong way. Like, whose side are you on here?
Yeah, I don't like the last couple lines either. I agree with you. I think everything was said in the full body of that letter, and you just don't need that. It's like when Liv did that thing with David Faraday, and then Phil Mickelson comes on for the last 20 seconds, and it's weird and strange. You don't need it, and it's unnecessary. It's like those last couple lines. I agree, Mike. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because it sounded greedy, it sounded egotistical, and it just wasn't necessary. So I'm with you. But that is kind of Jay Monahan in a nutshell. I think he's an incredible business person and an incredible mind, but he comes across as that, and he has for 6-7 years now, however long he's been the commissioner. He's been working with the PGA Tour for years, but before that. But yeah, I mean, it's this is kind of how he is, and again, as a business mind and as a guy that I guess runs a large worldwide golf tour now, he's pretty strong. He's pretty good. The fact they got out of the pandemic the way they did, the first major sport anywhere in the world to open back up back in that June without really any hiccups was really impressive. And I think Jay's a big reason for that. So again, his business acumen and sense is really good. It's all the other stuff. It's the rest of it. I think if he had a softer personality and he was more likable, he would be unstoppable. But the problem is there's a lot of stuff like that. And that's not the first time that's happened. He's talked about certain things. He said some negative stuff about the European Tour about 6 or 7 years ago, which is really interesting that they've got this coalition now. But he said some negative stuff before. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Again, I'm actually a fan of his in general overall, but this is the stuff that you're going to get with Jay Monahan. It's one of those things that if you like him, then you have to take this for what it is, because what he's done with the tour. No, I mean it's funny because nobody's perfect. I get that, and it's not like I would want to sit around and have dinner with a guy on a consistent basis because I wouldn't like him overall as a person. But he's good. He's really, really good at running this golf tour.
Reminds me of Roger Goodell.
Yeah, I think he's better at his job than Goodell.
The big business guy, just not a good people guy.
Right. I agree. I think if he had more of a personality, if we're talking about commissioners like Adam Silver.
That's what I was going to say. Adam Silver's the one that pops out from me.
Exactly. The lawyer extraordinaire who is, now running, the NBA is pretty remarkable.
He's an incredible dude.
Yeah, if he had agreed. And if he had a personality like that, we'd be saying the same thing about Monahan. But again, he does things like this, and that's unfortunate. But I'm really, as you said, I think I'm taking it the same way you are, in the sense that this is just so sad, and you just get all this negative news and negative sentiment when we're coming into the FedEx Cup playoffs, which should be super exciting. Like, you have all these great players competing for all of this, not just money, but it's become a prestigious time
Right,
and
prestige.
event. It really is. Yeah, of course the money is there, obviously,
Right.
but you talk about guys that not only win the FedEx Cup, but win the Tour Championship and things like that. They never mention the money. They never talk about it because it is a truly, massive ordeal. Patrick
It's a
Cantley last
prideful
year.
sport.
It sure is. It really is. So yeah, Tony Finau's done what 25 interviews. He did some big national stuff with NBC and other things. He has not brought up prize money and how much he won. Not once. I've seen 8 or 9 of those interviews. Not once has it been talked about or brought up. Somebody asked him a question about LIV, which he sort of dismissed, but he didn't say one word about it. It was mostly about family and just all the work, the hard work
And
that
the
he's done, and
history, yeah.
what it means to win on the PGA Tour that's exactly it. And you take guys from JT Poston from 5-6 weeks ago all the way on down. It's golf is different than every other sport. Basically, around players are things are just different. It's very different. I keep saying this to everybody. It's very, very different. A lot of these guys are like this, and yeah, the money is there. If the money wasn't there, would they play? Probably not for these types of stakes. But it is, and how much money do you really need? At the end of the day,
Exactly.
yeah. So there you go.
Stewart and Percy, like C person, not Scott Piercy, but Stewart and Percy both at 500 now as well with M.
Yeah, a lot of great play so far early on. I've been watching it too. You're hearing PGA Tour live and unbelievable play. Sedgefield's not an easy course, but we were getting some nice weather. They had some rain earlier in the week, so more playable than usual. But it's fantastic scoring early on. With you,
Love
Mike.
it.
I'm looking forward to this. Really, really like it. And liking hearing Sammy, but going to the betting perspective, hear that he'll be betting this football game today.
Yes.
That's nice to see. Yeah,
Over 30. That's a low number, even for
it
preseason.
is. Yeah, so let's note or whatever, because at least Sammy's getting the right side here. This total opened a while ago. This was months ago now, when they put a line on this game right after the season ended, essentially. Opened 33.5, 34 in some places. So now you're getting 30 to 30.5. So the lines moved 3 to 4 points total down. It opened way too high, certainly. We get a lot of games in the low to mid 30s in the preseason, but the Hall of Fame game especially has played significantly under that over the last 4 or 5 years. So that's why all of this money, I think, came in. Now, again, I'm not saying that I would play on. You can't play under 30 or 30.5 because you've already missed the move. You already missed the line. Like if you wanted the under, you should have bet it when it was 32, 33, 34.
That's a good point.
So yeah, to me, you can never bet the under here. So it's either a pass on the total, or you go along with Sammy and you bet the over. So again, I'm not saying I'm not taking a side one way or the other, but at this point, you certainly can't bet the under based upon how the movement has happened. And then we also had movement, Mike, in this game that the Raiders are now a favorite. So Las Vegas opened as I believe, a 1 or a 1.5 point or something like that underdog in this game.
Right.
It went down to pick them a little while ago, and now the Raiders have become a favorite. I think with all some of the injuries and the fact that a lot of the offensive players aren't playing for Jacksonville.
Which is annoying, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why they're a 2.5 point favorite now. And again, it's one of those things that you already missed the move. If you wanted to bet Las Vegas, you should have bet it when they were an underdog or pick them and something like that. So The only thing I could see here is betting the over in the game, or if you wanted to bet on Jacksonville getting +2 or +2.5.
I'll dig that.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's nice to have football back. This game is really rough, though. Usually,
I know
it's very, very rough. It's one of those things that it's frustrating in that sense because we all want it to be great. We want that first game back to be fun and fantastic.
We want it back, but it's not back yet.
Yeah, even when the starters are playing for a little while in the first quarter or so, it's usually a very, very tough spot. Again, these guys are there specifically just to sort of the hoopla and the excitement of the Hall of Fame, and no one is really all that focused, unfortunately, on usually playing this one. And it gets a little rough. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll watch a little bit of it tonight.
Well, you're sort of watching.
I'm a junkie. Like I mean, we all are. On the show, we love it so much. That we're going to watch, and it's just we got to get our fix. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a wonderful thing. It's why we are what we are, Mike. So absolutely.
Tony, I'm glad you came on today's show.
Fantastic.
Anything coming up on Medium? How are we doing on that?
Yeah, so I've been shuffling around a lot of different things for not only upcoming work and things like that, but sports betting and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to it. Probably write some just more fun and engaging things as the time goes on. I got a little bit of time here finally over the next few days
Woo!
while I watch at Sedgefield. So I'm excited about that. Also, wanted to talk about, we'll be betting some football too. Wanted to talk about maybe handicapping specifically preseason football versus regular season, because I think there's some differences there. We'll get into that hopefully maybe next week or something along those lines. But I think that's an important thing to talk about, because sometimes, people think about it's the same type of thing. You can make the same transition, and you really can't. Betting on the
Right.
preseason is very, very different than the regular season. Now, again, from the betting perspective. Now, from the watching perspective, that's a whole nother ball of wax, because you're watching guys that might make the team or might not. Guys are specifically looking at maybe rookies. And I know you and I, we do that too. That sometimes we're watching a game maybe specifically to watch a player or to see something. And preseason is great for that too. So I think it's something to talk about, though. And it's interesting. And yeah, a lot of stuff happening, Mike. I'm here on essentially, we've on no sleep now the last couple of weeks, but I love
bet.
it. I love being on the show, and I just like being around you guys. I know we didn't get to see Aaron today, but
Yes, forget
that's
Aaron. We're
okay.
done with him.
Oh, he moved on. That was quick. We
Right.
got to change the website now because it can't be the Mike and Aaron drive.
Mike
if we're
and Tony,
forgetting
Mike
him,
and Sammy, I don't know anymore.
there you go. Just the drive. Just Mike driving. That's all we need to know.
In his car alone.
There he is.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Follow AM Drive on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at AM Drive TV. What yellow drink is that?
This is a bubbly sparkling water, mango, the mango flavor. The mango flavor, Mike. Come on, Mike. Get behind it. Get behind the mango.
No.
All right. Fair enough.
Hey, Bubbly, add us.
Bubbly's good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Little, just nice thing. I didn't want to do coffee in case I go back to sleep in a little bit. So there you go. But no, feeling good. And nice fine morning here, all the way to the other side of the coast. I know we're on different parts of this country, but it's a nice fine kind of, I guess, not full on sunny, partly cloudy, I believe they would call it, morning here in Las Vegas. Finally starting to cool off a little bit after the big heat of the summer. Looking forward to it. We got football season, Mike. It's great stuff.
Drive safe, bet responsibly. We'll see you guys.